Hello and welcome to the Reykjavík Grapevine Newscast. My name is Valur Grettisson. I'm the editor-in-chief at the Reykjavík Grapevine, which is a cultural magazine, and you can both find it on the streets of Reykjavík, and you can also find us at grapevine.is. I'm here at Bessastaðir. This is the place behind me where our president lives, but more about that later. We're going to go into the interesting big candy war between Iceland and Denmark right now. We're going to talk a little bit about the weather, like always, as well as the volcano and, of course, earthquakes. There was a huge earthquake last night. So, let's get into it. We're going to start off with candy war. This is, well, let's say, not one of the serious news of the week, but I wanted to tell you about this because it gained a lot of attraction and is partly the reason we're here. Now, Icelanders, we have odd candies, I have to say. We like bitter things. We're not much for sweet food. We like a lot of salt. That's like basically the only Icelandic season you will find, especially if you talk to a food specialist like Sruti Basappa, a friend of ours at Reykjavík Grapevine. She always laughs at this, that we only use seasonal and salt. But we have candy called licorice or licorice. That's the Icelandic word. And we have tried a lot of things with this licorice throughout the years because, well, licorice is this licorice. Used to be used in like medicine for centuries until the Danes actually realized that this could be candy. Now, licorice came to Iceland when we were under the monarchy of Denmark, and it became kind of our candy as well. For example, the Danish word for licorice is like lakrids. I don't know how to say that with a straight face, basically. But in Icelandic, it's lakrís. It's exactly the same word, but we spell it a little bit different, but it's definitely adopted from the Danish language, just to show you how related these things are. Now, there was a Danish manufacturer, like licorice, like candy, like manufactured, which is called, the company is called Bulow, like B-U-L-O-W. And the man that actually is named after is Johan Bulow. They were actually said on their homepage that they invented licorice coated with chocolate. Now, licorice coated with chocolate is a very old tradition in Iceland. And when I say old, I'm talking about a few decades, like perhaps 40 years old. Nothing is old in Iceland. The country is old, the culture is old, but the civilization is not really that old, to be honest. So the thing is that there was an Icelandic woman living in Denmark, because a lot of Icelanders live in Denmark. We go often there abroad to study and so on. It's a pretty old tradition. And she was not having it. She just said, like, this is a complete goddamn lie, because they said on the homepage of Bulow that they invented this and have been trying to find ways to do this since 2009. And she saw, because she grew up in Iceland, it is probably closer to my age than anything else, and she said this is horseshit, basically. And the thing is, she sent them actually a email, and she stated that this was not correct, and they were kind of like evasive about it. They didn't answer her for the longest time, and when they answered her, they said, like, okay, we'll change how it's put on the homepage a little bit. They didn't do much about it. Now, this case is so silly. Well, not silly. I mean, it's a matter of pride for Icelanders, isn't it? It gained a lot of attraction in the media. And the media, of course, was dubbing this in, like, as the big licorice case, and how the Danes are trying to steal our ideas from us. And you can imagine, of course, especially if you've been with me in my walking tours, that like Icelanders We don't hate Danes, far from it. We are actually we have a very strong diplomatic ties with them, and we have a lot to thank for. But at the same time, they were our colonizers, and they didn't treat us that good. And they kind of like they didn't build much in Iceland, no infrastructure or such, which resulted that we were second poorest nation in Europe in the beginning of 20th century. The only nation in Europe that was more poorer than we were was Moldova. And this was not because we didn't have the resources. This was more or less because we were under the monarchy, and that's just what kind of happens when you're in that situation. And you can see this still today with the countries that are still colonized by that they are often not with strong infrastructure and so on. Anyway, as a complete side point. Now, now things get quite serious. Wait, I have to. There are people on horses here. This means that I have to have her in a leash. We also have birds. Okay. There are horse people, but this is because of the birds. They are not having eggs right now, so we should be fine. Okay? Pollý should be free for now. But we need to be careful when it comes to riders. There are people that own horses. They often ride here, and of course, as you know well, then dogs can easily scare them off. Now, the things get serious because our own president, Guðni T.H. Jóhannesson, my favorite president of all time, actually, he is much of a he's very fighting. He's very strong when it comes to human rights and just being human. Is most human president we have ever seen, and he is very relatable to the nation, and he's very beloved. This man, and he was not having it with this Danish thing, and I mean this is. He is a fine scholar and he's a historian, and he's written many books. He has been before he became president, he was very criticizing the government a lot, and he has a very special place in the heart of Icelanders. Smart guy, and knows this presidency actually the best of all in Iceland. He's he even written books about it before he became a president, and is in my opinion a unique character. Also, his wife, Elisa Reid. She was actually working with us at Reykjavík Grapevine once. So we have an odd special connections, obviously, with the presidency. Although she was working there before I was there, but she is a fantastic writer herself and has actually written a book called Sprakkar. An interesting book. You can find it in our shop, and you should actually read that book. It's about women's rights and so on. Again, a side point. So, what I want to get to here is that he actually got himself involved in this, in the big licorice case, and he stated that chocolate-coated licorice was as Icelandic as glaciers and elves, volcanoes and waterfalls. Now, that's dramatic, isn't it? And he added, nothing Danish there. With full respect, by the way. And then he added, try instead putting chocolate on your beloved smørrebrød or stekt flæsk, dear friends in Denmark. That could be something, he added. Now, what is stekt flæsk? That is a Danish word for fried pork. Also quite a Danish dish. Not sure how unique it is. And also the smørrebrød, you need to try that actually. I absolutely love it. You can also get a lot of it in Iceland. Now, we have to give the Danes some credit here, though. I mean, as I said, they definitely came with licorice first to Iceland. They evolved that idea to make it a candy. But I want to show you here the candy that I actually grew up with, and it's fantastic because I got weird flashbacks when I see this. Now, this is called draumur, or the dream. This is Freyja licorice, and this is something that we grow up as children. I'm early millennial, what is it? I'm born 1980, and this is the thing that we were eating in the 80s. And when we got one of these, it was when we were watching Eurovision in 1986, and when there were some like grand occasions, you would get this. Now, I want to show you also how we do this actually. Because, just to open it for you. Now, looks like a pretty ordinary chocolate, right? But when you turn it around, you can see there is something up. Correct? There is some line here in the middle. So, if you break this up, and for Art, let's break it up. He loves this. Then you can see there is licorice in the middle of this. That's sad. Huh. This is fantastic. And we were doing this in the 80s. The chocolate shape. Oh. I'm gonna eat it anyway. Small chocolate. She can't have it, but I mean, just don't tell Hannah, my girlfriend. As you can see, we were doing this decades before 2009, and the Danish has nothing to do with it. So, this is salt, right? We're correct. I hope we will never have to discuss this again, to be honest. Although it's funny to get the bite. Also, just a fair warning though. Licorice is not healthy for you. I know no candy is healthy for you, that's for sure. But licorice is like especially bad actually. It raises your blood pressure, it gives you scurvy. I had to look that word up, I haven't heard that for a long time. And it also you can get headache and some illness if you eat too much of it. I got all of this as a child when we got into the licorice bin or whatever you call it. We ate as much as we could, and we all got sick by it, the kids. And it's a pretty and fairly classic thing. So, into the next case, earthquake. Grímsey is probably the oddest island in Iceland, in my opinion. There are just under 100 people that live there. It's on the northeast of Iceland. If you know where Akureyri is, it's a little bit further to the east, and it is in the summer. It's famous for this. If you go there in the summer of 21st of June, you can see the sun rise, and in the evening it would not sit. It will be like on the surface, like peeking up from the horizon the whole time, because in the summer solstice there is no night there. It's absolutely beautiful. This island is completely flat. There are only sailors there that live there, or farmers. It's a very unique environment and society. And it's just a lovely island. Now, this island is also on a earthquake belt, and they had an earthquake yesterday up to 4.9 in magnitude, which is a lot actually. They felt it very well, but the thing is, they have been having earthquakes there for the longest time, and it doesn't really mean much. It means that the plates are like shifting and so on, but there were a lot of tourists there, not only on the island, just in the area, also on land. You can feel this very widely, and they felt this. And if you're actually watching this and you felt this, this was quite the earthquake, but nothing serious. Doesn't mean anything. No volcanoes or anything like that coming up. Although the Met Office, like always, are keeping their eye on this just to see what's going to happen, because we've had this earthquake series before, which were like quite hectic, and it's always uncomfortable to have that for obvious reason. Meradalir, our favorite volcano. You can see even here, Keilir is over there. It's like exactly like a volcano, but it isn't. And just a little bit to the right, then you can see the area where you see Meradalir, in the area where the volcanoes were. Now, the volcano went down, of course, after 2 weeks of a fantastic show, and it was declared today as officially over. I mean, scientists have to do this. They have to wait a little bit. They can't just say like, hey, it's all over, and the day that goes down, they have to wait a little bit and be completely sure. This also means that the civil guard, they have like a state of emergency, like yellow alert for flight and so on, and all of these, this has been dropped to zero. There is no danger there anymore. But they ask people though, especially, and I'm asking you also, if you're gonna visit there, be careful about the lava. It seems like pretty reliable, but if you go, like for example, in the next few weeks, this can still be quite dangerous around the crater. It doesn't have to be in other areas, but the lava can always be a little bit dangerous. It can cut you easily, and it's simpler not to go there, but it's not like life-threatening like it used to be. So be aware of the lava. And a little bit about the weather, because we're talking about the Met Office. Yeah, that's nice. Now, the weather past days has been very, very nice. We have had unusually like hot autumn, and keep in mind, Icelanders don't even have autumn. We only have 2 seasons, and this is grounded in our old pagan time when we only had like summer and winter. Simple as that. So we have the summer day of first summer day, and then we have the last summer day in the I think it's in October, and then we have the first of winter, and the last of winter is in April. So it's 2 seasons more or less, and that used to make sense, I guess, in Iceland. But of course, for you, summer starts in June if you're in England or in the US. But in Iceland, of course, it starts in April, which is odd. So we take it all together. Not that summer actually comes in April. We have often had snow in late April, even in the beginning of May. But this summer has been, and just to like underline it, like how incredibly boring this summer has been. I mean, it started off quite fairly nice, but July in Reykjavík was horrible. And this new data actually shows how bad this was. So, the Met Office has never in its history, since they implemented this new warning system, it's like yellow, orange, red warnings, and they did this in 2018, warned the Icelanders as often about the weather over the summer like this year. Yellow warning were issued 50 times over the summer, but it was 22 times last year. Yeah, Pollý. She's not getting tired. The previous record was in 2020 when there were 39 yellow warnings. But this year, this summer, 15 of these warnings were because of unusually much rain. And then there were 3 because of snow. So that was in July. Imagine that. We haven't had snow warnings for the longest time in Iceland. But this was not unusual when I was growing up or like decades before. July was the worst month. We had 27 of these 50 warnings, which were issued in July, and 19 of them was because of high winds, and 8 because of rain and snow. The Met Office has also warned people, Icelanders especially, of course, because the weather is so nice. I mean, right now it's 13, 14 degrees. It's a bit windy, but it's warm. And they have said, like, yeah, but we don't really know how this will be the next week or the week after. So if you have trampolines in your gardens or like furniture, summer furniture and so on, this would be the time to take that down, because you never know, there might be some storm warning just tomorrow, and they could actually take your trampoline and fly off with it to Bessastaðir or something. I don't know. We don't really need or want that. So that's it for the newscast. I'm gonna eat my chocolate on my way back. You wanna add something to it, Pollý? Liz is laying down. That's something. We need to find water, I think. There's always water somewhere. So, until next time. Ready?